Welcome back, YouTube, to another episode here at WILDMAN Lifts. I'm your host, WILDMAN. Now on today's episode, like the last video that I did where I did back squats and bench press on the same day, now I'm in a commercial gym and I'm going to do the overhead press and deadlifts on the same day. So let's pop into today's workout and I'll explain more about this workout. So on today's workout, this is going to be a little bit different than something I've done in the past, right? Except I did it on the last video. So now I'm just following up with the other part of the movements, which is going to be working the shoulders and the deadlift on the same day. I'm going to be starting off with doing the kettlebell clean and press, 3 on each side, because that equals 6 reps total. And that's something I've been seeing lately in strongman. So I might as well practice that kind of movement, because like the circus dumbbell, this is starting to make its appearance. Then I'm going to gingerly walk over to the deadlift and I'm going to do 6 repetitions. And the goal is to work up to a 6 rep max by the time I'm done on both the kettlebell press and also the deadlift. And then once I am done with the deadlift, then I'm going to do some bar facing burpees. This is just to make sure that I'm getting some extra conditioning, but also that I'm moving in an explosive pattern in order to build for those big weights as they get heavier. And that's going to be the strength giant set for the day. So I had some factors working against me on this day. I had a work break, so I didn't have that much time to be lifting. But also from the last time I did the last video with the back squats and the deadlift, my pressing muscles and also my legs were very tired. I actually contemplated about not doing this kind of workout and just kind of going for a 1 rep max with chains or something different, just to kind of throw a different stimulus on it. So this was going to be more of a mental thing than it was a physical thing, because everything was moving just fine. I just mentally didn't really want to do it because of my long work week and my short work break, and with all the fatiguing factors that I listed before. So the idea of the clean and press with a kettlebell is you kind of want to make sure that it's sitting like on your arm and not like upright on your shoulder. Because if it sits upright on your shoulder, it's going to be a lot easier, especially as the bell gets fatter, because the weight gets fatter. It's going to make it a lot easier to press, and it shortens that range of motion, which doesn't really do much. It drives me crazy when I watch strongman competitions now, and I see the kettlebell as part of the like overhead press medley. They'll do like a circus dumbbell, a heavy kettlebell, and then like a log overhead or axle continental clean and press. And I'm noticing that because strongman just isn't used to having the kettlebells as part of their rotation, that the athletes kind of cheat a little bit, because they will sit that bell straight up and push it, kind of like I did in the beginning of this video. Not gonna lie, I had to remember how to do it correctly. The real way to press a kettlebell is to kind of put your hand in front of your face so that the handle is in front of your face, and then that bell is sitting flush between the shoulder and the bicep. And then you kind of jump and then catch from there. That's the way that true kettlebell lifters lift kettlebells. Otherwise, if you just stand it straight up on your shoulder from the bottom and then just press it, you're only going to get like 1 inch of range of motion instead of getting the full range of motion, which is what it's supposed to do. And for the deadlift, reminder, it's a lot easier to lift the deadlift once you're at the top. The reason why the deadlift is called the deadlift is because you have to pull it from a dead stop on the ground. If we were to start at the top of the lift, where you pick up the bar and you're holding it at your waist, and then you were to lower it down, you'd be able to do 1 rep pretty easy, because that tension is already on the top of the lift, and you can eccentrically lower the weight down, which is a lot easier to do. That's why back squats and bench press, you typically start at the top of the movement, and then you finish at the top of the movement. Unlike a deadlift, you start at the bottom and then you go to the top. But then once you're going to rep it out, it's a lot easier to get more reps. I've seen a lot of people do deadlifts for 1 rep and they can't lift, like, let's just say it's 4 plates on each side. They can't do that, right? They can't do a deadlift from the ground. But if we start them at the top and they're holding that weight, and then we move the supports out of the way and they lower it down, they're able to lift it back up pretty easily. So you've been seeing me lately do a lot of single deadlift format, where I completely let it go at the bottom of the lift and have to restart over again. That's a lot harder to do. But there's no point in being stronger on the eccentric portion if you can't even get it up for the first time. That's why I like to practice in the single deadlift format. But I've been doing that so often, so recently, and I decided to switch it up. So that's why this time I'm switching it up and doing a 6 rep max. And once I get it up to the top, then I just do what's called touch and goes, where I just lower it down. And as the weight gets heavier, that bar bends. So I am actually getting a little less range of motion every single time I add weight to this implement. But that's okay, because sometimes you need to train like that, and other times you need to train from working from the ground. Now, because of the back squatting that I did last time and all this deadlifting that I'm doing for more reps than I typically do, I was starting to feel that impingement again in my left hip. Unfortunately, I was warm enough where it didn't seem to be a problem. I was getting enough blood flow to it. But on the other flip side of that, I was kind of feeling lethargic because I've been working some long hours and my meal schedule and sleep schedule has been a little bit off. So on this kettlebell, this is the second heaviest kettlebell in that gym, which really isn't that heavy, right? It's just kind of a awkward movement to do when you haven't done it in a very long time. But I was happy that the way it was going, because I was feeling smooth and I was feeling pretty strong, even though my left hip was giving me some pain at that moment. But I also didn't want to end on my top set today on the deadlift. So 365 pounds was supposed to be my top weight for today. But I was like, I'm doing pretty good. I feel pretty good. And I like to usually end on a lot higher weight than this. So instead of doing 6 repetitions, because the deadlift taxed me pretty bad, I just did a 1 rep with it just to kind of warm up my muscles. So that way I will be able to do the 405 pounds after this. Because typically when I come to the gym and I do deadlifting, I really don't like to lift anything under 405 pounds or 4 plates on each side, because I just feel like that 405 is a great weight to train with, especially when it comes to the deadlift. So I took the heaviest kettlebell in the gym, which is a 190 pounder. And again, it's not that heavy. It's just awkward since I haven't done this in a while. I used to train with kettlebells all the time. And when I'm used to it, it's actually very easy to do. You just have to time it appropriately. So this is kind of nice to knock the cobwebs off this old skill that I used to have, and to really kind of try something new, but also something familiar at the same time. Since I am seeing this movement more in strongman competitions, it just makes more sense to start getting used to it like I did with the circus dumbbell, because the circus dumbbell took forever for me to get used to. Now this is my top set for the day, which is going to be 4 plates on each side, which is 405 pounds. Not a terrible weight to do if I'm only doing it for 3 repetitions, but 6, holy cow. So you see the first one goes up pretty smooth. And like I said before, once it's up there and it's already tight and tension like that, it makes it a lot easier to just rep it out with touch and goes. But look what I do here. I get my breath at the top, right? And then I brace, and then I bring it back down, and I hold that brace the entire time. Then I let my air out at the top, and then re-brace, and then do it again. That's the most effective way to deadlift, especially when you're doing touch and goes. Because the moment that you lose your brace, that's where you're gonna miss the lift. You need to make sure that your spine is supported, and bracing, where you take a big breath, tighten your abs like you're gonna get punched in the stomach or shot with a cannonball all the way around, is able to protect your spine and complete the lift. Now, I was running out of time, so what I decided to do was do kind of like a chipper, which is 1 round. So I would just take these easy bars off the rack, and I would do 10 reps. So I started it, I believe, with the 50, and then I got the 60, and then my top set was the 70. And I was just going as fast as I could. I wasn't taking any breaks, and just doing 10 reps with each. And then I finished off by doing 9 burpees in a row, because if I did that, I would get 30 burpees total with all the bar facing burpees I was doing too. And then I rode on the rowing erg for about 300 meters. But since I don't get monetized by my channel, I had to finish the workout here and go back and actually work for a living. But all in all, I felt like I was pretty proud of today's workout, and it definitely was a grinder. Well, there you have it. Hope everybody enjoyed watching myself torture myself, and that you learned something new in the process. I really appreciate everybody stopping by, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.